Hello everyone, I'm Rajat. Today we would be discussing a very easy topic which is coordinate system and transformation. This topic is useful in most of the engineering subjects, whether we are dealing with Newton forces or electromagnetic theory, which we would be covering in next couple of lectures. It's a good place to start with. So, before jumping to the technical side of the topic, it's always interesting to know which scientists or the people worked in that particular topic or area. This topic is very simple, coordinate system and stuff. So, a lot of scientists have contributed over the period of time. But Professor Rene Descartes is one of the initial scientists who worked in this field. He was a French mathematician and a scientist, and he was also a philosopher. In fact, he is also considered as the father of modern philosophy. He worked on the applications of algebra to geometry, which today we call it Cartesian geometry. So now, coming to the technical side of the discussion, first question which we need to ask ourselves is, why do we need coordinate system? Well, the electromagnetic waves are basically the function of space and time. In fact, any wave, whether it be mechanical wave or electromagnetic wave, they are the function of space and time. And to define the spatial variation, we need to define each and every point in the space uniquely. So when I say if there is a point A, then probably you should also understand which point it is. This is why we require a definite coordinate system. Going forward, what are the different type of coordinate system? So all the coordinate system can be broadly divided into two parts. Few of them are orthogonal system, rest of them are non-orthogonal system. The major difference between these two systems is that the orthogonal system has all the coordinates which are mutually perpendicular, so they are at 90 degree to each other, whereas in non-orthogonal system the coordinates are not mutually perpendicular. Also, they are a little hard to work with. It's not very easy to work with. They require intense mathematics and the understanding of non-orthogonal principles to work on, whereas orthogonal systems are very simple to work with. I'm sure many of you must have worked it during your high school. So for now we would be concentrating on orthogonal system. There are various types of orthogonal systems. Few of the major examples are Cartesian system, which I'm pretty much sure most of you must have already encountered during your high school. Then there is circular cylindrical systems, which are used where you have cylindrical symmetry. Also, there is spherical systems which are used where they have spherical symmetry. And these rest are little less used, but they also have a lot of application in other fields. So for this chapter, we would be concentrating on Cartesian, circular, and spherical coordinate system. Next question which comes up is like, which one we should choose? Well, actually that depends on a problem. So if you have a circular shell, then probably you would like to use spherical coordinate system rather than rectangular coordinate system, because there is a circular symmetry in this problem. So whenever we choose a coordinate system, we try to see what kind of symmetry does our problem have, and that's how we try to apply one of those three coordinate systems. So now let's see each of those three coordinate system individually. So the first and the easiest one is rectangular coordinates. I'm pretty much sure you guys must have seen it earlier. It's basically three axes which are perpendicular to each other, and three variables which we usually use is x, y, and z. and these variables run from minus infinite to plus infinite. So basically there is one more axis which can be drawn like here, which would be a z-axis. So the next one is circular cylindrical coordinates. We use this when there is a cylindrical symmetry in our system, such as, let's say, circular waveguides or optical fiber, where they look like cylinder. Those kind of problems are easier to solve using circular cylindrical coordinate system. This coordinate system has three variables: rho, phi, and z. Rho basically goes from 0 to infinite. So if you see rho is here, it goes from 0 till infinity, it can go forever. Then comes phi. Phi is basically the angle from the positive x-axis to that point. So you can understand that this can vary from 0 and then go around and then come back to 2 pi. So that's why this variable varies from 0 to 2 pi. And then we have z, which is similar from the rectangular coordinate system. Z goes from minus infinite to plus infinite. So the last coordinate system which we would be talking about is spherical coordinate system. These coordinate systems are used when we have spherical symmetry in our problem. Let's say if we are trying to solve for the modes inside a spherical nanoparticle, then we use these kinds of coordinate system. Like other coordinate system, it has three variables, r, theta, and phi. This time we have two variables for angle. R is basically the distance between the 0 point and the vector, and it can take a value from 0 to infinite. Theta is the angle between the positive z-axis and the vector, and the value it can take is from 0 to pi. Pi would be basically minus z if this vector is at minus z. Phi is similar to that in the cylindrical coordinate system. It is basically the angle from the positive x-axis to the vector, which is the projection of the original vector in x and y coordinate. This phi can take a value from 0 to pi. So for now we would be stopping here. In the next video I would be discussing how we can convert a point which is in rectangular coordinate to, let's say, in cylindrical coordinate or in spherical coordinates, and vice versa. Thank you for watching.